Engage.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Winners Don't Use Drugs, presented by Engage Gaming. This is episode 51.
We over that hump.
We over the hump. Feels good, you know. And then you could chop that camel right in the hump and drink all its milk.
That's how it works, right?
That's how it works.
Sure.
I know you don't know. And if you do, then that's weird on your part.
Yeah, can you prove it otherwise?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. You ain't got, there's not enough
Spoken truth.
There's not enough space in your life to know all the things you know about taxes and games, and then camels specifically.
That's true.
Yeah. I got you. I backed you in the corner. How we doing today, though?
Chilling.
Good.
Yeah, feeling good. Yeah. Play any more Call of Duty? That's right, we can't because
Not yet.
beta's over with. You get picked for the Street Fighter beta?
Won't know until Wednesday.
Is it this week for real?
Oh, I already found out.
For you or for everybody?
I know all.
Okay,
No. Yeah, they're supposed to send out the emails on the 5th. So.
that'd be cool.
A couple days from now.
Yep.
And then it starts with the end of October.
No, it was
No.
supposed to be this weekend, right?
Friday.
Really?
1 a.m. Friday morning. So Thursday night.
We're gonna have it for the lock-in.
Don't get me excited for the possibility of that. But Nolan did say if he gets in that he was going to come up here and do something. So
I'm going to try. We talked about that yesterday, actually. My original goal was probably to be up here all 3 days. But now
come on now.
Now, if I can do it, it'll be Friday and maybe Sunday.
And then by the time this weekend hits, it's gonna be just Sunday.
Yeah.
From 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Oh, it's going to be a specific. Like,
Well, no, I don't have any work to do Sunday, so that's why. As of yet, I don't have any work to
Exactly.
do
See?
Sunday. So
Didn't you say you were going to do
You can come to the lock-in and play.
the free flight? The Star Citizen event was coming up.
oh, that's like a con. No, it's not really like a gameplay thing.
Okay.
This is when they talk about all the
That's
cool
this
stuff
weekend?
that's never going to be in the game. Yes, Saturday.
So that's why he can't do it Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Well,
that's completely why he can't do it
too. Yeah,
Yeah, be honest. Be honest
but I
with
also
people.
got
So if you're into Star Citizen, you can go to a con online.
online. Yeah, supposed to be in person again this year, but they canceled it at the last second. Well, last second, like months ago. But they say it'll be in person because they kept saying, "Oh, this year is it. It's going to be in person. It's going to be in person." And then about 3 months ago, they're like, "Okay, so look, we're going to do it online again." It's like, oh, but
When you're older, time
Just
seems
like-
to be like one day.
It's
it's true.
it's just like the game. They just keep
Yeah.
pushing it back and pushing it back.
Yeah. Don't think that hasn't escaped everybody's.
They're just trying to. Art emulates life.
Yeah. But
There it is, right there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with my game, my pet game, Tarkov.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you could play yours though, like consistently.
That's true. It runs a lot better than Star Citizen, that's for sure.
I don't doubt it.
But our updates for gameplay and new maps and stuff keeps getting pushed back and pushed back.
No. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Look, we had this conversation yesterday, like when you were talking about Star Citizen with Jake, and I was telling you, like, I really don't like when they give dates.
Yeah.
I don't like roadmaps. I don't like dates. If you're working on something, just tell us you're working on something, and when you know that we are good to go, we
Without
are
a shadow of doubt.
this is the date.
That's when you can give me a date.
Give me a date then. And it doesn't matter. Like, I think that sometimes they think they need to give people so many months ahead to get ready for it. It's like, no, man, we the consumer. The moment you say it's out, we're going to go consume.
Yeah.
You don't need to give us notice. Well, you need to give Nolan a lot of notice. Based
Well,
on
I'd like to know, yeah.
See, that's the problem right there. Like me, what do we say, Zach? Like if it's a game that you're working on, tell us 3 months before the game's going to launch.
You can even tell me 6 months. I'm okay with 6 months.
If you know it's going to come out.
Yeah.
But 6 months, I'll be feeling like we're going to get that 2 month later update. And
But I'd say a lot of times they go off of assumptions and then they'll hit a roadblock, in the middle of it. And it's like, what game we talked about yesterday?
The pirate
just
game.
got pushed back?
Yeah, the pirate.
yeah.
Skulls and Bones?
Skull
There we
and
go.
Bones, yeah.
Hardy Har Har.
Ubisoft was showing it. There's like, here's all the gameplay. Here's a single player. Here's a multiplayer. You can do all this stuff. This is going to be out on. Okay, so we had to push it back.
I think it got pushed back because it didn't get the feedback that they wanted.
Well,
Because
it
there
kind
was
of
a
came
lot
out of the
of-
weird. Like when you were telling me about it, I was like, no, I didn't really remember like seeing anything until you showed me, and I'm like, I don't know.
It's also changed a lot from when they first showed it.
I don't understand what it's like. Like in my head, I know it's more than this, but isn't it just Assassin's Creed 4? It's like just take the boat part out of Assassin's Creed.
Well, I think
4
it's
and make
supposed
a
to be
game out of it. How hard is that?
more like Sea of Thieves,
But with the Ubisoft like look and
more
feel
realistic,
to it. Yeah.
and not cartoony. And you can have crews instead of every individual person being in your crew. You have AI as your crew.
Yeah. It seemed like they
That's
had like
probably the sticking point.
yeah.
Trying to get them to do more. I don't. But everybody loved the boat part in Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah. Well, I
even
think
the part that they put in Assassin's Creed 3. So it's like, why do they feel like they need to?
a lot of
much
people
more
that
than
are
that.
complaining about it are complaining about the graphics.
The graphics?
Yes, because I think from if I remember correctly, when
What
they
it looked like?
first showed the game, it was supposed to be like isometric, almost like Lost Ark. And now
That's
it
third
seems
person?
third person, and I have a feeling they use a lot of the same assets, which you can't really do. But that's what it looks like. They use some of the same assets.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could be making all this up too. So
I mean, even what you just said is more information than they've been providing.
so I don't know.
You didn't want to know.
I don't want to know unless you start talking about things that are coming out. They were talking about things coming out.
Yeah. They gave it a date and everything.
Then that means
they seem so excited.
How long did that date hold? Like 2 weeks, and then
it'd be like a
It
month.
was,
It was like a good
about
month.
a month, yeah. if even that, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't seem like long at all. They like, hey, this is when it's coming out, and then like the new moon comes up, and they're like,
Well, I know they had some closed tests because folks have been playing it for.
That was
a
the thing that they did during
And-
the when you was talking about the indie. I mean indie stuff. The stuff they announced during when everybody was showing their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like I did the thing like a while ago, and I didn't get a response. I figured I wouldn't. I had bad luck with Ubisoft. Like none of their. I've never gotten into like a closed test or anything for any of the stuff they had.
yeah, I didn't get into it either because I remember signing up for it.
I didn't
So
know
I
it
was-
existed
when it-
until a few weeks ago.
First got announced, I was super excited about it.
Yeah, we missed the boat on Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
Like that phrasing. So we want to play the pirate game, man. You know, can't get in.
no, but like with Tarkov, they keep promising stuff and not delivering. I just like at some point, it's just like stop telling me that it's coming out at X day, X time, because we know it's not. Just tell us what you're working on. That's cool.
I imagine they're developing the game and they make some kind of breakthrough and they get so excited and they just want to tell everybody about it. And then, like I said, they hit a roadblock and it's like,
Yeah, like
so this thing we thought was going to be out next week, yeah, we need like 2 more months on it.
so when I first started playing Tarkov, it was beginning of 2020, end of 2019. And since then, they've been talking about how Tarkov Streets were coming out. It's a new map. It's supposed to be one of their biggest maps that they've ever made. And it's supposed to be out by the end of the year. We're in 2022 now,
Oh wait.
and we still don't have it.
That was like when
And
we first
now-
opened.
Yeah. And then they're still saying it's supposed to be at the end of this year, and I don't see it because they're supposed to have Arena supposed to come out in this fall, and we still haven't heard anything about a release date for that. So, and then this last patch back in June, they were supposed to release a new trader called the Lightkeeper, and he didn't come out for the wipe, but they said, oh, he'll be out soon after the wipe. Well, the wipe was in June, and we're in October now, and he still's not out.
Not,
And
they
we're
were talking
supposed
about
to
that
get-
wipe. They were
and
talking
we're
about this
supposed to
next
get
wipe.
the Arena, and we're supposed to get Streets by the end of the year. So
Yeah, they said a wipe, not that wipe.
Yeah, I think you guys were reading the wrong words, and you were putting words where there weren't words. So that's kind of on you guys.
I've
Nobody's gotten heartbroken by these roadmaps and everything the way I have for 2 different games. First of all, Fortnite saved the world. Okay, before all the BR stuff, you know what I'm saying? I was playing this game, which I actually got into the closed beta for, so I didn't even have to buy the game, which was awesome. But we're playing it, and they're like, hey, man, that BR stuff is starting to take off. And they're like, it'd be cool, you know, they do some of the BR stuff and save the world. And Epic was like, what's that? So, and that got dead. Like, they just, like, the game had like a little, like a story mode to it, basically. Mm-hmm. And then, like, it wasn't finished. And now it just stopped one day. It's just like, yeah, good luck.
can you even access it anymore?
You can. It's just, it's in the state that it's in. Like, and they've retooled and changed how everything worked. Like, it used to be class based. Like, different classes had different strengths. So, for example, they had a builder class. If you built buildings, they could build them and then reinforce the structure to make them stronger, take more damage. So, like, you'd want like a mix of different classes. There's a commando that was good at like using guns and weapons and had like mortar strikes and stuff. So that would be the people that you would want like on the guns and stuff. And
but you can just play the BR and be all of it.
It's not the same. You couldn't reinforce building with nobody. No. But yeah, he just gave up on it. And then the other one, which hurt even worse, was Friday the 13th. Now I know the guy sued and they couldn't basically make any more content. But even prior to that, there was all of this stuff about, the single player mode and roadmaps and adding these Jasons, and they was going to add Jason next, which was Space Jason, which is my favorite Jason. Not because of any sort of like story reasons or nothing, just because like all of the kills on that one were just absurd. Like we were at 1999 where we just kind of gave up on doing things, traditionally horror. So I was really excited for Kevin Nash, Jason, and then we didn't get nothing. And then they got sued and now they can't make anything for it. Game still exists though. At least we got NES Jason.
Oh, is he in there?
Yeah. So when you pick, it's a skin for one of the, I think it's like Jason 3, and like when he's around, it plays the NES music, like instead of playing the normal Jason music. And he's teal skinned and like got purple jumpsuit like in the NES game.
That's funny.
So he looks crazy just running around like murdering people, but also looking like completely out of place. Yeah. He can't hide as well as the other Jasons.
Well,
you can
obviously he'll stick out like a sore thumb.
You don't even have to use the flashlight on him. You'll be like, yeah, I know, I see you. Come on, man, you're teal. I see you. But yeah, games break your heart sometimes.
Making games is hard, I guess.
Well, you know what? And that is a very fair statement. Making video games, as people who've played games, so I guess 30 years at this point, at least all of us.
I don't know. In high school, I made a Pong game, and it was pretty easy.
I made a missile command game on my TI-86.
That's a calculator.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I used to download games to my calculator.
Oh yeah, they had oh my goodness, it was like they had like stuff like Missile Command, and they had like the choose your own adventure type games and stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But games are hard to make.
Yeah. I tell you, after hearing the Tarkov stuff, I kind of understand why everybody compares Star Citizen to it. It does sound similar.
Yeah.
I just would rather the communication not be led to like make people excited, because I feel bad for developers when that happens, because you get people all worked up and then it doesn't work out. And I may not give up on the game, but I know there are people when that happens that do, because you get burned by so many like big promises from these companies and things don't pan out. And it's like gaming is hyperbole personified. So like we live and die on these emotional highs and lows for video games. And as soon as somebody hits you with a low, you're like, yeah, I'm out. I don't need this, And a game that could be good ends up not being as successful, or a lot of times failing because of things that are technically outside of the realm of the developers, like the people who are actually making the games. But the decision makers are forcing things that can't actually work the way that they want to. I mean, like Cyberpunk, which has now become a quite successful game, right? The way it launched, where it was like, oh, they gave us this unworkable, unfinished piece of mess. And basically the developers, in anonymous, statements were like, we didn't think it was done either. They made us do this. Yeah. And they're like, well, why did you tell them? I'm like, no. We said it. They told us that didn't matter. I mean, like Sonic 06 is infamous for being such a terrible game. And the reality of it was, they told them it has to come out, and they're like, but it's not done. And they're like, that's cool. Put it on the disc and send it out. And then all of a sudden your franchise takes a hit for like 15 years because people don't trust it because of that one game. Like you become infamous after being like a cornerstone of gaming for a decade and a half. And all of a sudden, none of that matters. Credibility shattered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, slippery slope, man. It's a dangerous game. But anywho, what we here to talk about today?
How about we talk about some of the games that are actually made?
Yeah. That's good. That's fun. You can play those.
No, I've been noticing, at least for the last year and a half, that we are getting a ton of quality games from indie developers.
Silver Age, man.
Like, I think we're gonna be looking back at this point at some time and be like, man, I wish we had that back. Because I feel like we're gonna hit a lull at some point. Because right now we're in a gold rush.
Like,
it seems like new great indie games are coming out every week.
Me and Lone have this conversation every once in a while because we were like really heavy into the Xbox Live Arcade games back in the day. So this is like 2007 to 2011 ish, and that was like the first time I felt like kind of what we're getting to now. So that's why I made the comment about it being the Silver Age, because that was like the golden age. It was the first time where all of these $10, $15, $5, sometimes free games were being released, and it was like, hey man, these $60 games are kind of disappointing. It's like we were getting out here getting Kane and Lynched out here.
I like Kane and Lynch.
It was all right.
The first one, not the second one.
There's a lot of things to be talking about Kane and Lynch, but the second one we can all agree did not live up to the expectations set by the advertising blitz of that second game.
You know what I liked about Kane and Lynch? It used the same engine and game system as the indie game Freedom Fighters.
Yeah,
you ever play that?
Yeah, I remember Freedom Fighters.
That game just came out of nowhere. I remember. I'm sorry, I busted into a story here, but I remember I was working at EB Games, and we had a shipment come in on a Saturday, which rarely ever happened. And there was one box with 8 copies of that game on PC. Mm-hmm. And me and Brad picked it up. It's like, what the hell is this? Why'd they bring us this on a? Oh, okay. So we put it up on the shelf or whatever. So I took a copy of it home. I wasn't supposed to. To try it out. No one even knew what it was.
You got to be familiar with the product. I get it.
Yeah. So I took it home and installed it, and me and my brother played it for like 3 days straight. It's like, oh my God, this game was so much fun. The squad commands and the story was kind of goofy, but kind of like it got like real serious at some points. But yeah, so okay, sorry.
No, that's what I mean by like there was this string of games that were coming out that were like they were not even like positioned as alternatives to like the AAA games. In some cases, it would be like we were talking before we started about these games were even being made by like AAA studios. Mm-hmm. But it was like the scale of everything was toned down, like the price point was much lower, but the quality was better in some cases.
A lot of times, yeah.
Like it was like, okay, I guess this is the new way of gaming. Like we got a new layer to it, a new option, because before it was like we got to the point with the 360 and the PS3 era where it was like every game was $60. Good luck, because you might get home fronted. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a chance you get burned, and you just got to take the L. Now you got to trade it back to GameStop for $30 when you pay $60 for it. And that's just how it worked. And it's like, no, we don't have to give them money just because they're the new game. We can play these other games and see these different stories. And the game, like the other thing was, because the budgets were lower, they had to get more out of the gameplay itself. So when you played a game like that was in the vein of God of War, right? They would do some action, some puzzle solving, and usually the puzzle solving, like, you know, like Darksiders and all those games where it was like, it was never quite the Legend of Zelda level.
Right.
And in some cases, it would be like, oh, you're just insulting my intelligence. But these indie games would be like, no, we got to focus on the puzzle solving, but make it fun. So you have a game like Braid where you're using time control, and you got to figure out how to solve the puzzle where you can, you know, control the flow of time. Super Meat Boy was another one that just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden was like, everybody's playing it.
Shoot,
those two
what about the biggest one that every single person under the age of 25 knows and could quote and everything? Undertale.
Oh, bro, you know what? That's a fantastic example. I thought you was gonna make a joke.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, because the under 25 thing, I was like, okay, where's he going?
I mean, you guys, like every person under 25 has literally asked us, "Do you guys have Undertale?"
No,
like, we do though.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we have copies of it.
I didn't even realize that.
Oh well,
I turned somebody away. My bad, my boy. If you see this, my bad, my boy. But no, like a game like that where it's like there was no expectation for this game, and then all of a sudden
it's a black and white pixelated game.
it was all these games were like, to me, it was like word of mouth. Like you would see, there would be the IGN review or the GameSpot review where they would be like, yeah, this is an 8. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. But when you played it, you're like, man, no, this feels like we're getting, a Nintendo, a SNES greatest hits type level game for $10. Because the graphics were, of the previous generations, but the gameplay would be so solid. Bastion was another one. Like with the narrator, becoming the star of the show just because like they're just literally telling you what is happening in the game, but the way the person's voice is and just the way the story was set up, you're like, oh no, this is crazy. So we might be getting back to that point, to Zach's original statement.
I mean, like I said, pretty much since like COVID brought a lot of bad things, but I think it helped out indie developers because that's what their bread and butter was, working from home and making and developing these games. And it almost feels like we're getting the fruits of that labor, because it seems like all this year we just been getting great indie titles after great indie titles every week. And what kind of brought this conversation up was this week we got like three or four right off the bat. One of which debuted on Game Pass.
Yeah, a few of them, which is another thing that I know people have feelings about. But to me, Game Pass is a great opportunity for these indie companies because it gives them the ability to get a platform for their games where they may not have gotten these people to try these games. Now, you can still buy them on Steam. You can still buy them on GOG, PlayStation Marketplace, and Xbox Live Marketplace, and all those things. But if you have this service and you get to play these games, maybe you don't buy this game because you get to play it on this service, but the next game that this company makes comes out.
Yeah, me and Nolan were talking, like, we've had so many games on our wish list on Steam, and then we end up not having to buy it because it comes out on Game Pass.
Man.
Yep.
And this one right here that you see in front of you for all of our watchers is Moonscars. Moonscars came out this week. It is Souls-like Metroidvania 2D platformer, and it was fantastic. I beat it this week.
Yeah.
I played and beat it this week, and it's challenging. The aesthetics are awesome. If you like Blasphemous, isn't Blasphemous an indie game as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blasphemous, Dead Cells, all those.
Yeah. So if you like Blasphemous, it's just like Blasphemous. It's also like a game that I played a couple years ago that came out. Dark Devotion is probably one of my favorite Metroidvania games to come out in the last 5 years. I even liked it more than Metroid Dread, which is hard.
Let me ask you this question. Have you played Hollow Knight yet?
I have not.
That's one that I streamed it a little bit. I did it for a few hours. And it's Metroidvania, and it's got it's an indie game, and it's got that same vibe of like, the aesthetics are more like hand-drawn cartoons, but still it's like when you're playing it, you're going like, no, this is a great game. Like the explorations, the visuals, the combat, the smoothness of it, the puzzle solving, like it's all there. And we got Metroid Dread last year.
Yeah.
And like, I love seeing the influence of Metroid series on all of these games.
Like I was telling you guys earlier, like, so with this game and with Dark Devotion and Blasphemous, really, there's a set path, yes, because it's a Metroidvania, but there's a little bit more openness to it, unlike Metroid. Because Metroid, I feel like...
No, there's a path.
There's a path.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely...
You can't really deter from it.
You can't go here until you do this. And,
yeah.
Stuff
in
like
these
that.
games, you can kind of, like, you can go to multiple areas without...
Yeah.
It's not one set path. Now, there are some areas you can't get to until you beat X boss or whatever. And this one, I had so much trouble with the second boss because I got to it before I should have, I think. So I sat there and I probably died to it 20 times. I'm like, oh man, I don't know what's going on. So I'm like,
something's wrong.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm either missing something or... So I got back into the world and started exploring some more, and there was like a whole part of the map I haven't seen yet, and I got a bunch of upgrades that I needed for the boss. So
yeah,
could you have beat it the way I had it? Probably, if you were better than me. But I'm washed, so
yeah,
I needed those upgrades.
Wasn't more like the Castlevania approach, because that's the thing that Castlevania does that Metroid never did, which is like, if you if you figured out how to get to somewhere using whatever abilities you currently had, even if you probably shouldn't be there yet, they'll be like, "Oh no, go ahead, see what's going on."
Well, you could sequence break in Metroid games, but it wasn't
intended.
Yeah, except for this last one, they obviously wanted you to be able to do stuff because they actually put scenes in the game. Like if you get to Kraid before you're supposed to, and you beat them with this thing that you shouldn't have had, there's a whole different cutscene. So that was pretty
really?
cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The guys that made that game knew what they were doing. They knew what folks were going to do with the game. Yeah, and they were like, well, it's actually possible to get the bombs before you get to Kraid. So what happens if you do this? Well, let's put a whole other scene in the game that, unless somebody broke it in that specific way, you would never see. But they knew folks would, so that was cool.
There's another one that's like that. There's actually a few of them, but I'm thinking I want to say this one was Bloodstained, where like that's one where you can speed run it and you can get to other places really quick.
Yeah, I mean that's really the Vania part of the Metroid Vania name.
Yeah, it's being out of the sequence.
Because Metroid game is just, you're playing it one way and that's it. It was really when Symphony of the Night came out that kind of gave you the open map, but you can't get to certain places unless you do certain things first. But also, you're gaining experience, gaining new skills, and have usually a little more freedom to go to places that you may not should be yet.
Yeah, you see what's happening with it.
Did you ever play this one, Dark Devotion?
No.
I'm sure you probably like it too if you like those types of games. It's a Metroidvania Souls-like game. This is what kind of started me into I didn't play Blasphemous or what's the other one's Death's Gambit yet?
Oh yeah.
Until I played this, and this was what made me fall in love with those types of games.
You also played the Record of Lotus War one, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That one was really good too. And that was a Kickstarter game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
right?
It was.
It was based off of a previous IP, but it was a Kickstarter to actually get the game up and going.
Which is another thing that's changed indie games, right? So before it was like they got as much money as they got to make this game. Good luck. Hopefully it turns out well. Hopefully you don't hit any roadblocks. Mm-hmm. And then with Kickstarter, it's like, no, now, you got stuff like Euden Chronicles where you don't get a game like that. Like that game is like the spiritual successor to Suikoden, which is crazy now that they're doing the Suikoden HD remake. Which that we're not gonna talk about if one thing led to the other.
That's all Konami's doing these days. They wait for somebody else to remake one of their games, and then they were like,
let's bring it to the front.
Remember? We used to make these games too. Here, buy it again, please.
Like that, Konami's greasy. They were like, "Oh, Shredder's Revenge is coming out. That's crazy. We just came up with this thing called the Cowabunga Collection. It's got all the games that happened before Shredder's Revenge,
which, by the way, is amazing."
Oh yeah. What were you telling me about the playthrough thing that they have?
Oh yeah, the best part about it. I don't know if you have you played it.
What,
the Cowabunga Collection?
No.
So the best part about it is there's a part where you can just tell it that you want to watch the game. Like every game in there, yeah, and it's like a no-hit playthrough of each game, and you can just watch the game play.
So I can feel bad.
No,
the entire time watching, like
you can play through the first game and be like, I'm not swimming through these sewers here. Just watch a guy just go through without ever getting hit.
You can play it and change it to the watch.
You can start the watch, and at any point you can pick up the pad and start playing.
Huh.
And that's a crazy feature.
It's so cool.
That'd be the only part in any of the games I'd ever do it on.
It's like, man, I don't have time to play all of these games.
Nobody's defusing them bombs in the dam anymore.
Yeah, but that was like, and that's like the coolest part of it. But the whole collection is just really well done too. So I was.
But they also did come up with the collection after Shredder's Revenge started getting all that good press. They not slick out here. But yeah, so like we talking about the Kickstarter thing with like Euden Chronicles, like it's something that if you have these indie companies have these ideas and they don't quite have enough to flesh it out and people want to see it come to fruition, they can actually, donate to them to get a game made. And in most cases, they're just pre-ordering the game. Like that's usually, besides the basic donations, you're just pre-ordering your copy, so it gives them a chance to get the capital up front, and like it's a more direct to consumer type of situation. And to me, it feels like if you contribute to certain things like that, you kind of feel like more invested into it, more connected to it. And in a lot of cases, they put like, they'll put your name in the credits and the thank yous and all that stuff.
Oh, I've been in 3 or 4 games now.
Yeah.
Shenmue 3.
So you're famous.
I'm going to be in Uten Chronicles. Oh crap! What was the other? Anyway, yeah.
So not only is he an expert in fighting game mythology and knowledge, he's also been a contributor to multiple game releases.
Yep.
Yep.
So when your game doesn't release on time, you can blame him.
Yeah.
What did I do?
If a Uten Chronicle gets pushed back, it's Nolan's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, it already did. So.
Well, no, we're not worried about that because we got the action adventure one, which another part of the indie collection.
Oh God,
that game, like
that game was so much fun.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna test it out because I got turned on to that game, that series by Steven. Steven's like, hey man, let me show you this thing they're doing. Like this is the success of the Suikoden. And I'm like, all right, let me check it out. This looks pretty cool. Then they had that big trailer with the announcement that not only were we getting that game, but then we were getting the prequel, which is an action adventure game, and it was coming out first. And it's on Game Pass. So
sure is. After I paid for it on
so
Kickstarter,
he paid for it, and then
I paid the extra money on Kickstarter to get it first, and everybody else just got it on Game Pass.
Yay,
sucker!
Capitalism.
Hey, I wanted to support the game, so I'm cool.
But and you get that option, right? Like that. That's the other part of being able to do the Kickstarter stuff. But I started playing it like, let me just try it out. I know Steven's real big on this. Nolan's big on this. Let me see what's up. I know I'm gonna play the RPG, but let me try the action adventure game. And I was just like, nah, this is fun.
No, it's like it's so good. It's like the writing, it's like these are the folks that made the original game. So it's like the character and the interactions and the setting and everything was just like, oh God, it's so good. And
so many different there were so many different again, these are $15 games. There's so much depth to that game, even though the battle system wasn't the most complicated.
No.
Yeah, pretty much any game that we're talking about today isn't going to cost more than $30.
Yeah. Like these are games that you can get, and that's if you don't catch it on sale. You mess around and catch these games on sale, they'll be $5. You know what I'm saying? I got games for like $3 and things like that just because like I was like, oh, I forgot about this one. Let me, like you said, the wish list thing. Like you wish list a bunch of these indie games and then pick them up on these different publisher sales or whatever. And you find out that, again, you're getting so much content in such a small package. To me, I don't know about you all, but sometimes it makes me look sideways at the lack of depth in these big releases.
Yeah.
It's like there's two different like avenues of making games these days. You're either shooting for the moon, hey, we're going to make this big game that we're hopefully going to make,
a mint.
Yeah, off of. And that's kind of a big risk. Or here's this less expensive game that we're not going to make a ton off of, but it didn't cost as much to make, and we'll at least make some money off of it. Which is why I think a lot of when you saw a lot of larger companies start trickling those out to kind of keep some money in the bank while they're paying for their big risky game.
Like buying a Commando and buying a Commando rearmed.
Well, shoot. That's what Respawn did.
Yeah.
With Apex Legends. They released Apex Legends to try and make money to help fund Titanfall 3.
Yeah.
And then Apex Legends blew the hell up.
And now Titanfall 3 is probably never
going to happen. And now Titanfall 3 is not coming out.
Listen, Respawn would have to hire a Titanfall 3 team to get Titanfall 3
A lot of the folks
made.
that worked on Titanfall 1 and 2 are still there.
Oh, no. Yeah, because they're working on their moneymaker.
Well, yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, you can't take the people off Apex. So you're going to have to replace that staff with even more people to get Titanfall 3 made. Because ain't no way EA going to let you not work on Apex every single moment. There's probably, like, we talked about the roadmap thing before. Like, internally, you could have them. I'm sure they all have them, right?
Yeah.
I know EA has had them submit a 3-year roadmap for 2023 to 2025 at this point. Like, what are y'all doing? Because you can't stop doing this. This is just rolling in dough. And we need all of this to make Frostbite Engine 7.5 so that Battlefield 2044 is just as awful as 2042, which apparently somebody said the other day, oh, they're retooling the whole game. And I was like, buddy.
I've heard it's way better now, but
Who
I'll give
cares? Like,
I'll give it another 6 months to a year, and then I might check it out.
yeah, I'm probably going to check it out eventually. I was super excited about it until I saw
they're supposed to be bringing classes back was the whole
early
thing.
reviews. And
Oh yeah, we've talked about this on this podcast, but we
wasted our 10 hours of EA Plus.
we also contemplated buying the Dobo edition so we could start playing it a week early because we were so burnt on Vanguard. But luckily, we were saved by Master Chief himself.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's probably one of the funnier like release like
Sequence of events.
yeah. It was like Vanguard comes out and we're like, I see it, but I can't 100% get on it. Oh, Battlefield's coming out. Let's do that. Then it was like, this ain't really gonna work, is it? What are we gonna do?
We tried. We tried it in like a couple days. Yeah, and then they came out of nowhere like, hey, you guys can play multiplayer now.
like,
Yay!
let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's what we played for about a month, I guess.
yeah. And they got a bunch of roadmap stuff going on with Halo right now, and it just doesn't make me feel good.
Because they still haven't put out co-op campaign.
Yeah,
That was supposed to be out in what, May?
I think so.
Yeah. And we're in October now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
And most folks think it's probably never coming at this point.
Well, they've officially canceled couch co-op campaign.
Yeah, which didn't make me feel good about.
I'm not
the
surprised
rest of
about
it.
that because that has to be tough.
I mean,
You got to essentially run 4 copies of the game at one time if you're doing 4-player split screen in an open world.
Yeah, because the way they kept
yeah, I'm sure it's the
selling-
open world thing that's
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah,
making it harder.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure it was a lot easier back then when all the levels
when
were
everybody was
linear.
in the same map.
Yeah.
No matter, you
In this box
couldn't
that-
get that far away from each other. Yeah, now you can seriously be on 2 opposite sides of the map, and that's probably a little harder to deal with than they were.
That Xbox One ain't
anticipating.
gonna be able to do that, right?
Probably not.
Because you're going like, I mean, just loading up Halo now on the Xbox One has to send it into overdrive. Like trying to load that much information, it shut it down.
It already loads kind of slow on a PC.
Yeah. Even on the solid state drive and everything, it's still like it's a lot of stuff going on here.
Well, I mean, once you get in the game, it's fine.
Yeah,
Oh no, that's what's disappointing about what they've done with it so far is that like in its base playing, it's still like it runs really smoothly. It's still feel wise. I mean, it's still Halo. Like it's still top of the list as far as like that stuff, but it's just the lack of support for it, the long battle pass. Like there's just so many little things about what has not went well with the Halo release. Because the campaign is still, I mean, incredible. Like
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Like in the multiplayer, it still feels great. Still seems like it has a decent competitive scene, but it's just like it's not really pulling people in like that. You want to talk about what we're looking at?
Yeah, let's get back on track. We're talking about indie games. Another game that debuted on Game Pass this week.
Despot's game.
Despot's game. I don't know I don't know much about this, so you'll have to take over.
Okay. Well, it's an auto battler. It's a roguelike auto battler. And I'm always on the fence about roguelike stuff, but a lot of the roguelike stuff is pretty solid once they add another wrinkle to it. So not card capture or whatever, the card collection. Those are stupid. But
You if you're a veteran of the podcast, you know how much we hate
deck builder,
roguelike deck builder games.
terrible.
Even you, Steven. Fuck
Yes.
your Inscription game. or
Yeah,
whatever
nobody's
it was.
playing that. I heard
Game
it
of the
against-
year, my ass.
People still tell me to play that game, and I'm like, nah, just because you recommend it. But no, it's an auto battler. Like, so one of the games I play a lot of is TFT on League of Legends, and this game took that kind of concept. There's a bunch of other auto battlers that exist, but this one in particular is one that you're playing single player, and it's kind of like you're just going through and trying to figure out builds and try to see how far you can go. But then there's a PvP aspect to it. So you can go into like King of the Hill mode where you're battling against other people online and building your team and, restocking yourself. So you have different ways to play it. And it's got a lot of like humor to it, which is always a good thing, which indie games, again, have to rely on writing and character interactions to get more out of it because the presentation as far as like production value is never going to be as high. And this game does a really good job of that. You'll come across these rooms where it'll be like a side quest, or you'll have these when you first start a new floor. You'll have these different things that'll pop up, and you have to like choose your answers. And sometimes you don't know what's going on. Like in this situation, it's not that the question is supposed to be like this person isn't playing in a different language. The game did that as a way to make you.
I don't understand any of the words.
Oh no, it's just one of those make a guess and see what happens.
I think it's
They just
very
mixed up all
funny.
the letters.
Yeah. And so you have a choice to pick an answer, and sometimes you get points, sometimes you get another character or an item to add to a character, and then there's a whole like upgrade system. So every time you beat a floor, you get so many points for beating that room, and you can use that to either buy things in the game, whether it be more people or items for the people, or you can do like permanent upgrades to your squad for that run. So you could do things like everybody has 10% more health, or everyone has 10% more attack speed, or everybody gets more armor based on how many number of enemies are on the screen. So it's all these different layers of how you build your team. And then you got the different class types where you get bonuses if you have different weapons of the same type. So if you're playing with the fencers, which is basically sword users, if you're playing with those and you have the standard sword, and then you have the Durando, and then you have the Excalibur, like you have all these different like legendary weapons, they give different bonuses to your team. And then eventually the game gets too hard for me, and I get overrun by a bunch of like boss level characters. Or I try to play PvP, and people let me know that I haven't watched enough streamers and watched enough YouTube videos on how to perfectly build my team. So I get cooked immediately.
So I'm not gonna lie. When you told me about this game, I'm like, I'll probably pass on it. But now that you've kind of more explained it, because you just all you said is, "Hey, it's a roguelite, auto battler." I'm like, that doesn't sound like the game for me. But now that I'm watching it and you explaining it how it works, I might give it a try now.
Yeah, I mean, like it's something. If nothing else, like a lot of these indie games have like replay value in a way that's not the standard replay value. And that's something that like the roguelike genre does a good job of, right? You get a lot of replay value from a familiar game type, but they have ways, whether it's DLC or just the base game in itself. Like one of the games I played way too much of is Neon Abyss, where every run is different. You know, you find different weapons, different power-ups, and you don't need to like.
Aren't the environments in that game procedurally generated too?
Every time, yep.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of diversity in your gameplay within a gameplay type that's already familiar and you're comfortable with. You know, sometimes you want to turn your brain off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have to check this out.
And it doesn't help that it hurt that you don't have to pay if you have Game Pass with a lot of these titles.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
The risk versus reward is much lower.
This next game is not on Game Pass. It's on Steam. And when I first saw it on Steam, I was like, it looks interesting, but it's I'll pass. But then I watched Grand Pooh Bear play this game. And I sat here and watched him for 4 hours playing this game.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, I have to play it. I didn't get a chance to play it this week because there was so much stuff that came out this week. But it's called Dome Keeper. And you basically think it's Avatar the movie, the blue people, but you're the corporation.
Actually, I kind of.
So you land on an alien planet and you're mining it for materials, and the aliens start attacking you, and you have to use the materials to fight off the aliens.
You are the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, it's basically Avatar, but you're the corporation, not the blue people.
That's hilarious because that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, so you're mining it on this planet, and you use the minerals that you find to upgrade your dome and upgrade your suits and your drills and your weapons and stuff. And it's a roguelike game. Mm-hmm. Every time you die, you start over. It also reminds me a lot like Vampire Survivor.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
you upgrade and you try and get as far as you can, and then you die and you start over. But as you progress, because you open up new planets and new domes as you progress. Similar to Vampire Survivor, where you open up new maps. Yeah,
and you got like a. Let me ask you: does it have like a passive progressive system too, where like you get to start off a little better?
Yes, there is some. I didn't completely see that because Grand Pooh Bear, when he was playing, he didn't mess with that much. Or when he did, it was during ad breaks, so I didn't get to see that part. Because I'm not subscribed to him anymore. I was at one point, but I had to cut back.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
But it's and each time you play it, you get access to different abilities. So earlier in the video, you saw that big square thing.
Mm-hmm.
You find those, and those are like these like computer chips. And when you bring those back to your dome, so this is the aliens attack.
Yeah. Oh, this is wild.
Yeah, it turns into like a Space Invaders type thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you have different weapons you can pick up. So he has the laser right here. There's another one that's like a blade that you can cut people and shoot the blade out to hit the ones flying. He's getting fucked up.
Yeah, I'm saying, I don't know, is the run supposed to be this difficult? Because his dome is getting cracked over here.
Yeah. Well, you see in the bottom left corner, the little heart, that's the health meter of the dome. And then next to it is the timer for when the next alien attack is.
Oh,
so you know when the aliens are coming. So you have to make sure you're backing your dome before they start attacking.
Needs to repair that.
Because they can attack you even if you're not in the dome, if you're down mining still. But back to the computer chips part. So right above them, you see that little square. That's where the computer chips, and you bring it back to the dome, and it gives you access to 3 options of different things. Like some I've seen is you'll get a probe that you can activate on your body, and it sends a probe out, and it tells you where different materials might be.
Gotcha.
So you know where the direction you want to mine. Another one was, I think it was called Drill Bit, and it's a dinosaur that you can drop into the mines, and it'll drill for you. So it drills passively.
Nice.
And there's a bunch of different things I've seen, but it looks really fun. I'm probably going to pick it up sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If more shit doesn't keep coming out.
Oh, there will be, though. There will be. Because we're starting, we talked about this before. We're starting to get to the time of the holiday release. So we'll get some big games. Like, obviously Call of Duty's coming up. And, we're starting to get, when is it? Success of the Dead Space, but not Dead Space. Callisto Protocol.
Callisto Protocol, yeah.
Like, we're starting to get to all of that stuff, so it's going to be like, you only got so much time. Good luck.
Yeah.
Which Steven said he would agree to doing a playthrough of Callisto Protocol where he had to play the character instead of watching us play like he's done before.
Somehow I don't believe he agreed to that.
I mean, you could believe whatever you want to believe, but there's only one person here to make statements, so,
No, I'm looking forward to that. I don't generally do scary games, but I really love Dead Space.
I mean, for good reason. It's fantastic game. And again, that was definitely not an indie game, but that was a new studio getting a chance to do something really, really good. And they did a great job. So they definitely, they deserve to get another shot since EA decided to gut their studio.
Yeah.
And then make a remake of their IP, which I'm still going to buy. So.
Is it still being made?
You know what? I have no idea because a lot of their,
as far as I know,
remakes are on hold in debt. Well, not even a lot of them, just KOTOR.
Yeah, because KOTOR is the one I was thinking of.
It's on hold indefinitely.
Yeah.
So,
Sad day.
It is sad. It's sad. What else we got though?
We can talk about this. I didn't realize this has been out for a while. But it debuted, or not debuted, but it just launched on Game Pass. It's called Let's Build a Zoo. If you're a fan of the old Roller Coaster Tycoon games,
Yes.
you'll love this. It's basically the same thing, but instead of a roller coaster park, you're building a zoo. It's that same type of graphic style. That was a super zoom. But yeah, dude, every time I tried playing this weekend, I got interrupted.
Really?
Yeah, every time I tried playing this. So I've only played about a total of 30 minutes. But it feels just like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
There's actually another game that's like Roller Coaster Tycoon. I just saw it like a few weeks ago, I think. Maybe it was during like one of those showcases, but it was essentially Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it's, like recently. This is a different company too. I can't remember the name of it. But they clearly were like, let's just make that. Nobody's made one of those in a while. We'll make it.
Yeah, I mean, and just like Roller Coaster Tycoon, you have to hire people like janitors and maintenance and stuff like that. And I saw on there where you could actually choose where you're recruiting people from. They had like social media and stuff. Obviously, they didn't have that in the old roller coaster tycoons because there was no social media back then.
Well, it's like I was playing. You play Game Dev Story or like Game Dev Tycoon, and they have that to where like where do you put your ads for new people, and one of them is always social media.
Yeah, that's another game that came out on Game Pass this week. And then I kind of wanted to talk about. Oh, I guess this next game also, Omega Strikers, came out I think this came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a free to play game, right?
And it's a free to play game. It's basically League of Legends, but they're playing soccer.
It's League of Legends mixed with Rocket League.
Yeah. It reminds. Jonathan said this last night, but it reminds me a lot of Battle Right.
Yes.
There's not a whole lot of characters right now. I think there's 12.
I mean, it's not bad to start though.
Yeah,
especially if it's balanced.
They have a roadmap, and it's in game, and they've delivered on it so far. So every 2 weeks is a new champion.
Okay.
Up until November, whatever the third week of November is. They have like the silhouettes of all the champions that they're planning on releasing.
Okay.
And every 2 weeks one comes out. So they've already released their first one, which was Asher, which is the one that just died. If you're watching. And she's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the other ones. And honestly, so I played this Saturday for about 8 hours, and I've only spent $4.99.
I was going to mobile as well.
Yeah. I spent $4.99 on their starter pack, which gives you 50,000 coins and 1,000 of their paid currency. The coins is something that you can earn in game, and the 1,000 currency let you buy the battle pass. So I'm like, all right, sure, I'll do the $4.99, get the battle pass, and get 50,000 coins.
Yeah,
it was a pretty good deal. And I played, like I said, I played 8 hours, did that, and I own all the champions now. And they have, I don't know if you remember back in early league days. Remember the runes?
Yes.
That you had to buy?
Yeah.
They have something similar to that. So you have to buy they're called trainings. And I pretty much have all of those now too. And I've only played, like I said, I've only played about 8 hours. So it's not hard to earn the in-game currency and purchase everything. They do have some skins, and you have to use real money with that, which I'm fine with.
Gotta make money.
Yeah. But it's cool. So like with the trainings, they're not like so if you remember in the old league,
dodge,
the runes were like just give you stat points, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this game, they actually manipulate and change how your abilities might work.
Oh, that's nice.
So they let you play your character, even though you have the same character as somebody on the other team, might play completely different because of the type of trainings you have equipped.
Gotcha.
So if you have time, check it out. It's really fun. It's probably a lot more fun with 2 other friends, so you don't have to play with random people. But we enjoyed the hell out of it.
I love seeing like the combination of sports into like
traditional games.
Yeah, like the way they're mixing them in such a fun way. Because like back in the day, you literally only had like something like Windjammers, and then like NBA Jam. Like there were not a lot of over the top games, or even like just not making a simulation of a sport, or even trying to come up with a different type of sport. Like when Rocket League came out, like that's obviously got its bases in soccer and hockey, but like it's completely different the way you play that. And that's what I think that's what the beauty of games should be, is that you can take something, you can still have your FIFAs and NHLs, and we play those games and we love them, but let's go over the top sometimes. Let's just see how it works out.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of what's the game that soccer game that we got a couple years ago, the anime one?
Oh yeah, Captain Tsubasa.
Yeah,
I love that game. I played through
fantastic.
that whole story mode. Like it was good. Which I ended up having to go watch the anime because I was like, I want to see like the actual. Because in the game version, you make a character and you play like through all of these stories, but you're like watching the main characters do stuff and you upgrading your character. It was really good system. But the anime obviously has its own like actual storyline and everything. But yeah, like something as simple as that game where you just, first of all, animes about sports are one of my things, and I'm mad that not more of them have games. Like there's so many sports animes that could just make a game for it. Like everybody was on
volleyball one.
I was gonna say Haiku. Everybody loves Haiku.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a game for it? Like Namco Bandai, I know you got the rights to it. You got rights to every anime for video game purposes. So I know you already got the rights. You're sitting on money.
And you know what's crazy is there haven't been a ton of volleyball games made over the years, but the ones that have been made have been really good.
DOA.
There's been some good ones.
Even the joke ones.
The first one.
The meme ones.
Yeah. The first DOA volleyball. Outlaw volleyball.
Really game. Virtual Strikers.
Was that that was volleyball.
GameCube?
Yep. That was a Dreamcast and GameCube, wasn't it?
I think that was on the GameCube.
Oh. Everything virtual.
But they've all been good.
Yeah, they have been. Like, I mean, remember Rockstar made the table tennis game?
Oh yeah.
That was really good.
That was really good.
Like,
little launch title for the 360, you know? But like, yeah, when they make the games, they seem to be pretty good, and like
I guess they're not well received. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
We don't know people who've played those games and be like, yeah, that was trash. Like, no, it's like, oh yeah, I remember playing that. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we've like golf has probably gotten the most video game treatments that have not been based on like actual PGA golf. Like, there's been PGA games, but then we got Hot Shots Golf, which changed to Everybody Golf. We got Pena Golf. We got the Mario Golf series.
See, that's the biggest one is Mario Golf.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only one I play.
Mario Golf for the Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Advance is a fantastic game because it had the like you make your own character and level them up and everything.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah, so easy. Let us be directors. Let us start like being like project director.
I just want to tell people what games I want to play and make them make them.
Pretty much.
You should play Game Dev Story. You can make game. I just did the episode.
But yeah, what were we talking? I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Indie games and sports games, and we just got finished talking about Omega Strikers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But like we were talking about earlier, like indie games as a whole has changed a lot over the years. Like I remember back, you didn't even know what indie games was up until, honestly, the 360 kind of brought it to the limelight.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like that Xbox Live Arcade, and these games are also on PS3. I know people might listen to this and be like, "Oh, I talk about Xbox all the time." The reason why the Xbox Live Arcade thing became such a big thing was because you had party chat.
Yeah.
So like we could play the same game on the PS3, but like we want to talk to each other. So like one of the first games that I got from my Xbox through there was a game called Aegis Wing. Look it up real quick.
Oh yeah.
Aegis Wing?
Aegis Wing. Now, Aegis Wing is just a basic shoot 'em up game.
Yep.
Right? But see if they got a 4-player playthrough. Because the thing that made Aegis Wing crazy was you could like Voltron yourself to each other, and you was just like you could control, everybody's controlling their own thing, and then you could link up and somebody could be flying for everyone. And everybody else is just shooting. Like you just press the button, like I said, just press X. And then like it was a simple and easy concept, but when you see it in motion, like and you're in the party and y'all all playing together and you're linking up, you could do 2v2s and 3v3s, like, or not 3-in-1. Like, it was a very simple game, not even that long of a game. Mm-hmm. But because of the co-op aspect of it, all of a sudden, and it was free, all of a sudden it was a game that you go in the party and it's like, oh, y'all playing Aegis Wing? Let me jump in.
Yeah, I'll jump in.
I'll jump in real quick, right?
I've never heard of this game.
Yeah, look, it was like, but this was the beginning of the Xbox Live Arc. So then all these other games start coming out, and you're like,
is that what the X button is? That keeps popping up.
Yeah, to link together. Yeah, and so all of a sudden it's like, well, Aegis Wing was good. What about, let's say, Castle Crashers? Like
Castle Crashers.
Like, well, first it was Alien Hominid.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, the people who made Alien Hominid.
Which I played that game when it was just like a flash game
on Newgrounds.
Yeah.
Like that's because literally when you load up Castle Crashers, it says Newgrounds game. What's some other ones? Well, we had
Geometry Wars.
Oh my goodness, Geometry
Wars.
Like you had all these little games coming out, and like Geometry Wars, I think was like $5. Like then you had Geometry Wars. What was the
and then it blew up and got like a disc release.
Yes, it did. It had a disc release. And it was just like you were seeing the power of like people just talking about it. Because, like there's online thing was, message boards and everything, but we really didn't have like social media wasn't where it was, even 10 years ago at that point. Mm-hmm. So it was all about somebody still telling you to a degree, like somebody on your friends list playing it. And you're like, oh, well, what is this? You know, you go into the party and somebody's, you know, it says next to their name that they're playing this game, and you're like, oh, well, what's that about? And they're like, oh, dude, check it out. And the trial to buy, which I feel like we've gotten away from that. Like some games will have demos on Steam and stuff like that, and it's a pretty good thing when they have it. But the trial to buy thing where you could literally download the game, play, you know, an hour of it, and then hit that buy button. And I don't know about y'all, but if I'm playing it already and I'm not having a bad time, it's real easy to be like, I'm gonna press that Y button real quick, go ahead and get the full release. My card's already on file. So
they did make it real easy to just press one button and you got the game. Yeah,
they'll hit you mid combo in the game. Like you playing Shadow Complex, you go into a room, shoot the dude with the gun for the first time. You're like, oh, this is really fun. You want to buy it? Yeah. Yeah. Let me get there. What are some other games? We said which one?
Shadow Complex.
Yeah. Oh,
which we talked about earlier. It's like, does that really count as an indie game if Epic made it? I mean, that's what I was saying before. I think that sometimes the term indie game has kind of been conflated now to include not just, you know, developers who aren't you know, under a big company or something like that, but also just like scale and scope of the game.
Yes.
And this, I think this was like the best example of it. It was like I loved it when I finally actually played it. It was like, oh my God, somebody finally made a new Metroid.
Yeah, that is exactly what it like. We were talking about it. Like, yeah, this is a Metroid game because everybody's like, well, like, you know, again, you jump in the party. And I think Larry was playing it first, or either that or like somebody like my friend Marquise might have told us about it. And you get into the party and you're like, okay, so what is Shadow Complex? If you go into an Xbox Live party and there's 4 people in the party and 3 people are playing Shadow Complex, you're like, yo, what's going on? Like, what are we doing here? And they're like, oh no, try it out. And then you play the trial, which, you know, they make you download the whole game, and then you're like, you want to keep playing? Yeah, I do want to keep playing. I mean, we did it was Biden Commando when they did the I guess the remake of the original one.
Oh yeah.
And as a way to, I know Capcom was using this as a way to kind of gauge them making that new Biden Commando, which they didn't make the same, and that's their fault. But seeing that, you go into a room and into the party, you see everybody's playing Biden Commando, and you like, the game from the NES? They're like, no, there's a new version of it. Yeah. And then you go play it, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Castle Crashers is another one for me, where the drop in, drop out co-op aspect of it. Like somebody could be playing, you jump in for a game or two and then decide, you know, all right, I'm done. Or they decide they're done, but now you want to keep playing, and you could just keep playing with your character. And I mean, just like it's the level of like you said, the level of presentation and depth and gameplay you had to these games were just like, okay, yeah, they're doing something right now.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really got a chance to play this Castle Crashers.
Oh, this was fun.
Yeah, it got ported to like everything.
Everything, pretty much. Yeah.
Like I remember seeing like they were like, yeah, it's coming to the Switch, and I'm like, that game from 2008.
Yep.
Okay, sure. Because they had like the battle mode where you could fight against each other, but like there's like what, like 25 levels to that game.
Something like that. I don't think we ever even finished it. We
really?
used to just jump in and play it till we got tired of it.
Yeah.
Or if we had like a few minutes to play.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's jump in and, you know, swing some swords for a minute.
Well, you got all the different weapons in it. You had all the different knights you can unlock. I played with the Green Knight because they was the best. Got the poison damage. But yeah, I mean, it's just it offered so much replay value and so much value for the amount of money. Like paying like $60 right now is still a lot of money. So $60, you know, in 2010 is like, you know, we working retail jobs out here at that point. It's rough. Yeah. Giving all my money right back to GameStop. So being able to get something like this and get that much out of it was always like, okay, yeah, we almost like you appreciate it.
That's why I like Game Pass so much. Coming back to that is just, you get access to so many cool games that you probably wouldn't have purchased in the first place.
Yeah.
Just because you're just, you know, your dollar can only go so far. You can't buy everything.
No. Well,
so something has to give. Like Do I want to save up and get the new Call of Duty, or spend the same amount of money and get 5 fantastic games?
Yeah, you could.
And some people just don't know better, and or they love Call of Duty, so they play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
With Game Pass, you get access to all these games, and you don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah, I've found so many games where I'm like,
Game Pass does cost money. It's not like it's a free.
No, it's not at all. And the thing would be if Sony's system was better, we'd be talking about it too. If it was comparable, then we'd be talking about it just as much. It's just right now the price point for getting access to the same level of games doesn't seem the same.
One is not like the other.
No, not at all.
Hey, can just wait till the Activision thing goes through.
Yeah.
COD games may be free day one after that.
I mean, that's what it's looking like. That ain't no bad thing.
And Sony is not happy about it.
I mean, look, I get it. I do get it from their perspective. I just know that if the shoe was on the other foot and they could do it, they would.
They would do it.
You know.
Yeah.
Or they would, even if they still made you pay for it, because Sony might still make you pay for it if you had PlayStation Plus, they would still try to incentivize their users, just like the reason they had, day one access to the closed beta and other people didn't. Mm-hmm. They didn't give that up. They didn't, show some solidarity with game.
Well, no, yeah, they still got that.
They're going to take their
contract.
wins.
Yeah.
They're going to complain about their losses and say how unfair it is.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Because if I'm Sony, I'd be doing the same thing. You guys cannot let this happen. Buy Horizon on PC and PS5. I think next episode I'm gonna throw the topic out. We got to start talking about all these remakes that people are doing 2 years after a game comes out. I just heard a rumor about Resident Evil 7 getting the HD remake, and I'm like, it wasn't HD.
Resident Evil 7?
There's no way.
It's like it just.
Well, they're not calling it a remake. They're basically like saying they're gonna make a PS5 Series X version.
Okay, so just
update.
adding new effects and stuff like that.
It's like, all right, man. Like,
I mean, if you think about it, that's what they did. They've done that for every new generation of consoles. They'll take whatever previous game that was really big, and they'll like, hey, we'll put extra textures on it or some stupid shit and release it for the new system.
Sony's really
that's Sony.
bad or good, however you want to look at it.
Nah, it's bad.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's why I didn't get a PS4 for like a year, at least, after it came out.
I'm still waiting for my copy of Skyrim on PS5.
Oh, they just announced Skyrim for the Switch for $70.
Good God.
Like,
Does it run on it?
it's probably cloud. It's probably cloud based.
It's probably cloud version, yeah.
I'm about to say,
Especially if
or do you
it's
have to have multiple cartridges?
Honestly,
Or the cart, and then you download the rest.
yeah, hey, that would be hilarious though to have like
Switch out cartridges?
It would make me think the game was better. I'm just gonna say multiple disc games usually, back in the day were better. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
All right, I just finished fighting this boss over here. Time to go back to Whiterun and insert cart 3.
Let me gonna switch it out real quick. Just have it in order.
Just have it sitting in front of you.
It's one I need. I got to go to the Majors college. Let me get this for real quick. Pop that in.
But yeah.
I'm excited to see what we will get. We got to do before the year's up. We got to do our, this will be Nolan's first time doing it, but we got to do our next year projection. So we'll look at what's the scheduled release games and see what we're excited for and things like that. But I'm excited to see, like, when we see these names of games that we don't know, and we do this when we were going through the list, we watch them and we go, oh, okay, that's another one to put on the wish list. And a lot of times it's those indie games that we're looking at.
Oh, my nightly ritual, and it's turned to a nightly thing, is before I go to bed, at some point, I'm going to go through Steam and look at all the, when you scroll down, and it shows like the new and trending, and then it has the coming soon tab, and I hit the coming soon, and I look through all those games. Just so I can see what's coming up, anything cool looking. Oh, that looks cool. Let me put it on my wish list so I know when it launches.
Yeah, Steven just showed me one Saturday. It's from the Legend of Heroes series, and it's the game. It just came out, and it was like, okay, the visuals for one really feel like the N64 Ogre Battle like kind of visuals, but very clean looking.
Okay.
And it makes me feel like it gives me that PlayStation feel as far as the story and everything, because it's like they have their own little world where it's like it's not on Earth, but everything is like Earth-like, but it's a mixture of like magic and technology and all of that. So the main character is like part of some sort of like, it came back home and joined like the police force, but he's using like tonfas, but they look kind of like nightsticks, but like kind of robotic. And then you got the other party members they meet. And it reminded me of like Saga Frontier, but better, because Saga Frontier, while not a bad game, not a good game, it's not a bad game.
Not a bad game. No.
But it's also got like a lot of obvious flaws that when I bought that re-release, I was like, I did forget about how weird some of the aspects of this game is. I'm not sure if I really want to slog through this again because it takes a while to get through that game. But yeah, and we just saw that under the new and trending. So yeah, I understand going through there, checking out stuff.
Yeah, I always check the coming soon.
Is there anything in particular you guys are looking forward to just off the top of your head, besides the obvious stuff like Call of Duty, Street Fighter, things that we already talked about?
No.
I mean,
Not that I can think of.
God of War coming up, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I started that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, dude, I played a
one?
lot of shit this last week for some reason. I think I was just looking for something to talk about for this week because we didn't really have anything lined up. So I'm like, I'm going to start playing some games because I've been kind of in a rut. Like I'm done. I think I'm kind of done with Project Zomboid. I've got all I want out of that. And so I was kind of looking for something new to play this week. And I played that. And it was free for PlayStation Plus this month.
Oh, that makes sense.
Original God of War.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not October, but for September.
Yeah.
So it's not free anymore. So you're shit out of luck.
Oh, he already owns it.
No, it's probably still up till tomorrow because the store doesn't update till Tuesdays.
Oh, okay.
And it's the first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, it's God of
But
War.
I already got it either way.
And,
I'm pretty sure I downloaded it and I probably just forgot because I already own it.
Grand Blue versus is on there
Yeah,
too.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I do have it then because I remember getting Grand Blue.
Yeah, so I picked up those two and downloaded God of War. And I played like the first hour or so, much further than I got the first time I tried playing it.
Oh, I played the crap out of that game.
Well, the first time I played it, I didn't like it.
Really? What, the change
I
in
think because it
gameplay
was
style?
I didn't know about the change in gameplay, so when I loaded it up the first time, I'm like, this isn't God of War.
That's what I thought when I saw it the first time.
Yeah.
But then I
never saw anything leading up to it.
the day the game launched, I watched a bunch of folks on Twitch play it, and I immediately stopped watching because I was like, okay, yeah, I got to play it. And man,
I downloaded that game. I want to say I was in the Philippines when that came out. Yeah, because I got the digital version of it. I had to get every game like digitally during that time because I couldn't go nowhere to buy games. And I was just like, I was kind of like you, Zach, at first. I'm like, man, I don't know what we're doing here. I'm not sure if I'm 100% in. And also, Kratos is very off-putting for like the first 2 hours of that game. Like he's a curmudgeon.
Weird game. Like, and I followed the story pretty well through the first 3 games.
Oh yeah, there's just a jump.
Just my nature of how my brain works, I pretty much forgot most of it. But I knew the key points is that he really loved his wife and kid.
Well, he banged those chicks in the beginning of the game,
and then he died, and then they died, and then you start this game and you're burying your supposed wife and you have a new kid. Yeah. So I'm like, what the hell just happened?
And he didn't seem too fond of that kid in the beginning.
So I was like, so it kind of like was off-putting, and then the whole gameplay changed also. I was like, I'll come back to this, and I never
He ain't got the blaze
it.
right now. Like, I'm like, I got this axe. Like, bro, what is he doing?
He's got Band-Aids on his fucking, where his chains were. Like, where are my chains?
Moved from Sparta to Greece, obviously. I mean, not from Sparta to Greece, from Sparta
so those are the same place.
to Norse
area.
Like it's literally the area he's in.
After you explained to me with the like what happened and like kind of the story change, that's when I like, all right, I'll give it a second try, and I loaded it up and I enjoyed it. I'll probably finish it now, but
yeah, because the original God of War 2 was actually supposed to be Norse gods.
Was it
originally when what's his name, Jaffe made the first game? His actual plan for part 2 was, okay, now we're going to go kill some Norse gods, and then we're going to go to Egypt and kill some Egyptian gods. And
is that where we're going next?
Allegedly,
I don't know.
Allegedly, they said this is the last Norse game.
Yeah, it's definitely that. Because I know Barlog said it was like, I don't know if this is going to be the last Norse game, but it's my last one. So
yeah. So there's going to be the rumor is that we will get the Egyptians in the next game because that's the
cool.
logical step as far as like having a
multiple gods and
like pantheons that people kind of know because you know like some of the stuff for Egyptian gods I know a lot of people don't know probably besides like Anubis, maybe Ra and Horus.
Yeah.
But like there's a bunch of other ones that they have that
Yeah.
they could pull from, and you could do a lot of stuff with. The Norse it's kind of funny because like there's a lot of Norse stuff, and I guess in this next one we probably will get a lot more. But I felt like it was when you play it, you'll see that to me it kind of feels more narrow in scope as far as because you know when you play the first God of War, it's like we showing you all of it.
Yeah, it's very big.
Yeah, it's like you know about Festus, right? You know about Hades, you know about like they all here. But then this first one,
Well, that makes sense based off what he just said that it
Yeah,
was
they
supposed to be
jammed
the
him in.
only one
Yeah.
that was going to be Greece, but
because they started giving you some of those other God of Wars, they kind of giving you some of the side heroes in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, I guess we could do Hercules.
I always kind of felt bad for her Hephaestus though.
Yeah,
He's stuck down there. He's building all your stuff, and you sleep with his wife,
yeah,
and then you kill him.
yeah.
It's like, man,
He's hey. I don't think he's the bad guy in this situation.
seriously, it's like, really? And now I have to kill him? And then once he's dead, if you hit him a couple of more times, he'll fall over even more. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, come on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like somebody hated that god or something. It's like,
He don't do nothing but make
screw
stuff.
him.
He's a toy maker. But I do like the direction that they've. I like that God of War, the one before Ragnarok, the Norse one, because they've done a lot more to develop the characters. Like you were talking about in the original God of War, like the thing that always threw me off as soon as you cut the game on, it's like they're telling you about how wronged Kratos has been by Ares and like his family dying and all this stuff and the ashes being on his face and all that. And then it's like you press start and like press X to bang. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
you banged to forget.
Yeah.
Oh, I was banging out of sorrow, huh?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like somebody was like, "Well, you don't have to do it." I was like, "Yeah, but they literally give you XP for doing it. The incentive,
Yeah, you kind of have to do it
like,
if you want.
like you want to get I want to get my upgrades as quickly as possible.
So you go ahead and do it, and you can do it multiple times.
yeah.
And
Because
then-
Kratos got stamina.
And then you go yell at what's her name? Yeah, right after
Bang
that.
to forget.
Athena!
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like I just banged all these girls, and I'm still mad at you. It's like, what the hell?
we'll kill this Hydra and slaughter all these people because I'm upset about my family.
Yeah.
But no, I forgot about Ragnarok coming. That's one of those games. It's
That's
like
a game I always forget.
Well,
that's
it's
coming
almost
out.
like there's. I feel like Sony didn't know if it was coming out this year, so they just didn't say anything until they absolutely knew. And now all of a sudden you start seeing commercials for it and stuff. But before it was just like, well, let's just give them a little thing, but don't say anything else because we don't know if this game's coming out this year.
give them the extended version of the ending that you can get in the actual other game.
Basically,
It's like, remember that scene you can get? Okay, let's show a little bit more
there's
of that.
a little bit more, yeah. But now they're showing like full gameplay and got a full trailer for it, and so
Bro Thor.
yeah,
Real Thor.
that's real.
Thick
Thor.
Thor.
Hey, as Guardian me drinking Thor. Hey, I've been drinking a lot. We ain't had no real conflicts around here for a while. So I just been really like, chilling, living off the land, meeting it up. And now you want to come around with your filthy boy. And I got to,
Well, you killed one of his sons, so
I mean.
Spoilers.
oh,
Yeah, that's why I was kind of
Golly.
sorry about that.
trying to be vague with stuff. I know he's seen Thor in the
Well, I mean,
trailers.
I didn't tell him part where you fought the. Oh, never mind.
So apparently I'm killing Thor's son. Nice.
I mean, this God of War, you're going to kill a lot of
You
people.
good? I mean, it's God of War. Yeah, it shouldn't be that.
Like
big of a
Kratos
surprise.
hasn't reformed himself completely. He's still like his whole way of solving problems.
Oh, his
He- yeah,
bashing
he-
face.
Yeah.
He tries to stay.
I mean, you
it's
do that in the beginning of the game.
That's like part of this game. It's like stuff comes to him. He's not going out like he used to. No, he's
I mean, but he can also like use words more.
Boy.
boy.
It's like he's trying to teach life lessons to the boy, but also like it's still like, I could just murder these things barehandedly. Let me teach you how I had to teach my human son before he got murdered. But also I could just grab this thing and tear his head off. But you got to learn how to like hunt and stuff. So, whatever.
But yeah. All right. I think probably winding down.
Yeah.
Talked about what we want to talk about, indie games. I'm sure next week we'll have another episode of Street Fighter.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers
Well,
crossed.
yeah, we'll see.
I would not mind if we got a chance to do another Street Fighter based episode. Like,
Yeah.
Ain't no
'cause,
bad
betas
thing.
this weekend. I got into it. This guy didn't.
No one knows if they got in yet.
I do.
He knows it.
I know.
He knows.
I'd ask you what you've been playing this week, but we kind of that's what we pretty much talked about the whole show.
Well, you didn't. We talked about what we've been playing.
What you playing?
What I've been playing.
Yeah, I've been talking about what I've been playing the whole episode.
Well, actually, last week I forgot to say, and it's really the only thing I got to play this week before work caught up to me. But dang it, what did I say yesterday?
Gundam Evolution.
Gundam Evolution. That's it.
Oh yeah, that came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've really enjoyed that game.
So much stuff coming out.
It's not easy. Let me just say that.
It's
fun,
like
though.
it's Overwatch but Gundams.
Well, see,
basically,
the one thing that I told Nolan this too. I'm like, the biggest difference I felt is like supporting is much different in that game because there's only like one like person that comes close to being a support character where like you can tether like what's the character in Overwatch? The Angel.
Mercy.
I always call her Angel.
Yeah.
It's Mercy, yeah.
So like they can tether this kind of the similar way, but I don't think you heal as fast either.
There's one thing that throws out the healing beacon thing. And
it's like Soldier 76. Literally, Pale Rider is just Soldier 76.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's assault rifle, throw a grenade, throw a heal thing down. Like it is Soldier. And it's literally just powered up version of myself. Like yeah. But like tank, like there's no real like non-damage dealing roles. Like everybody's dealing damage. It's just situational.
Speaking of that, that's what comes out this year too. Is Overwatch 2?
It comes out
it comes out Tuesday, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Wait, it comes out tomorrow?
Yeah, it comes out tomorrow.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It'd be today for our listeners.
Yeah,
yeah,
we gotta figure out what we're gonna do about that.
I thought it was like into this month.
No, it is soon, and it's weird because the way they're gonna be doing some of the stuff with the fact that you have to have copies of the other game and all this other stuff.
Wait, what? I thought it was free to play.
I was talking to
it's a good way to
them
finish
about
out.
it at the weeklies yesterday, and they were trying to explain it to me, and it's like
I can explain it. Is if you don't, let's say you play on PC, because I don't know how this is gonna work for like disc people, but if you play it on PC and you don't have a copy of Overwatch 1 as purchased from Battle.net, right? You don't have access to the day one hero, the Overwatch 1 heroes. You can unlock them by playing matches, and basically after 100 matches, you will have all of them.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like, it's pretty much like any other free to play game.
Yeah, you just
have to unlock the characters.
So
that makes sense.
Or you can just,
if you own the previous game, you have them all unlocked already.
Or you can just buy them if you play Overwatch 2 and you don't want to play the matches.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So you can still.
Oh, I'm okay with that. Then.
Yeah. So it's just, but my question is like, okay, if I'm playing on console, how are we doing that? Because you could have bought it digitally, but also if I've been playing this version of Overwatch 1, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, do I put the disc in and they're like, congratulations to your other people?
You unlock them all, maybe. And then you just go to GameStop and buy the used copy and then return it. And I'm telling everybody, you can go to GameStop, buy the used copy, and then return and get all your money back. Because fuck GameStop.
Fuck them. Big time.
Yeah.
Forever.
It's not that bad, but yeah. Fuck them.
So but to your point about it, like, oh, Snaps is coming out. Like, there was so much up in the air about that game that, like, whatever momentum it had.
You had to buy it at one point. It
was
changed to free to play like within the last 6 months, right?
No, it's still isn't free to play.
I thought it was.
The first one?
No, the second one.
Oh, the second one. Yeah.
We're talking about like how all of a sudden like it feels like it's just
because you had to
out.
purchase it. They came out when they first debuted it like, hey, this is a new game that you're gonna have to purchase. Mm-hmm. And then, like in the last 6 months is when it changed free to play.
I guess it was the E3 or something.
Yeah.
No,
well, it's technically Summer Games. They know.
Yeah. But
and they were in the midst of all of the shenanigans that they had going on, and
all of the
bad
that was
things.
The main
that
reason
I
never really got the first. I kept waiting on the first Overwatch to go free to play because it's like it's got to go free to play eventually. And my friend up in Knoxville, that's like all he plays. And so him and his wife, when I'm up there with them, they're forcing me to play it with them. And it's not that I don't enjoy the game, but
you wait for it to go free to play because it should be free to play.
Next time it goes on sale, which I never did, but in my head I was like, if it goes free to play, I'll finally buy the game. But now I don't have an excuse. They're gonna
you buy the game when it's free.
Yeah, buy it for $0.
Yeah.
Add it to my library.
But I thought for sure once they announced Overwatch 2 was going to be free to play, that Overwatch 1 was going to be free now, right?
Nah, you still got to buy it.
$20.
Oh, is it only $20 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like
To get like just the base stuff. Yeah.
you mentioned, like I want to say this was like last year about it needing to be free to play.
Yeah.
Like it should have been free to play.
It should have been free a long time ago, I thought.
Yeah.
But
They just need to make it. I
Well,
don't understand.
They were different companies.
There is a model set out for everybody to make money. And the model is what Riot built with League of Legends. Just follow that same model and you'll be fine.
Yeah, like I don't even think they understand. Like when Riot first started doing League, like cosmetics is their bread and butter. Those skins weren't that fanciful.
No, a lot of them were just palette swaps.
They were palette swaps,
They're literally the chromas that you can buy today.
and it was like, but nobody else did it, and it was like, so they created the new standard. So then when people would get those chromas or get those palette swaps, and they had some that had a couple of visual things that changed to it, but nothing like as elaborate as they have now.
Who was the first legendary? Was it Pulsefire Ezreal?
Past Pulsefire Ezreal.
Yeah.
It's basically Mega Man Ezreal.
And how much did they sell it for? Like $20?
It's $20.
Yeah.
And it flew like
just for a skin?
Just for a skin.
Jesus.
But it changed it. It changed it from just a palette swap or clothing change to where
The visuals.
his visuals changed. And so you know how League of Legends works?
Kind of, sort of.
So you level up your character as the game progresses, and then you do it again on a new game, and you keep doing it again, right? Mm-hmm. But with his skin, once you hit level 6 and got your ultimate, his skin changed and upgraded. And then when you got to level 11, when his ultimate upgraded again, his skin changed and upgraded. So it was the first of its kind.
yeah. And now they have skins that are that elaborate.
Everybody had that skin.
Yep. Oh yeah. If you went to a match with Ezreal, it was Pulsefire, baby. Like you knew every time somebody picked Ezreal, it was gonna be Pulsefire Ezreal, which was cool because like you said, it was like it's the same character, but you're getting this new visual to it, and so it adds personality to the game. And that's where when there was the battle of the MOBAs, this is where League really started shining. I do think the DC Mobile was probably a better game than anybody gave it credit for. But
I enjoy the
I mean, a
DC
lot of folks
Mobile.
would think that,
yeah. Like that game shut down abruptly. Like we were trying to dig into it, and then it was like, oh no, you can't. Also, Marvel was it Marvel Hero Strikers or was it Marvel Omega something? I played that game for like 4 years, and then they shut that down too when the Disney thing happened.
Oh.
Nobody talks about those casualties
I
when
didn't
Disney.
even know.
Yeah, that was the
About
game
that
me and
game.
Jonathan played. That was like Diablo.
Oh, okay.
And then like as soon as Disney acquired them, they was like, "Hey, we didn't make it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
We're done."
That was me in Clone Wars, the show. Same thing.
Oh,
Disney,
for real?
Disney bought it, and Clone Wars, and Clone Wars was done.
Take out the mic.
Are you upset? You were that upset about?
I'm
Clone
pretty
Wars?
upset about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I'm upset about 1313.
Oh,
Oh,
let that
boy.
go, bud.
But we'll leave that for another podcast.
We're gonna literally have an episode about what games are you mad that got canceled.
That could be a whole episode.
Oh no, it's gonna be one. We're gonna figure it out. We'll figure when next time there's a lull and like things to talk about. That's gonna be the thing. Is like, hey man, get your list together. Cancel games. You know, mine's gonna be Street Fighter the movie, the console original game of the port of the arcade game, not the game that we got.
That was a mouthful.
But I know that's
The actual port of the arcade version, not the actually better home version.
No. I want the shenanigans of the arcade at home. Which Fightcade, by the way, does have Street Fighter the
Arcade.
yeah.
Anyways, any games that you're playing this week?
I mean, I finished Wasteland 3 again. So I'll actually probably end up doing an episode about that game because it's exactly what I wanted from a tactical Fallout game, basically. I
Played the spots, you said?
I played that Spots game. I played some Gundam Evolution. And I'm kind of like you. I'm kind of just like trying to not dive into anything for real or play something that I kind of missed out on to get ready for something else. But I don't like, I'm really waiting for Call of Duty, right? But
Yeah.
I don't want to play Vanguard.
Well, shoot, Overwatch 2 comes out tomorrow. I might play it.
Oh, I'm definitely going to give it a shot. If nothing else, I got to give it a shot. Now it's 5v5.
And then I'll play it and I'll get mad, just like the last one.
People don't do what they're supposed to do.
No, they're just running around trying to get kills.
Yeah.
Like there's an objective.
No.
Same issue we had with Call of Duty.
Yep.
Nobody
Exact
wants to
same
play
thing.
objectives.
Stop queuing up for domination if you just want to get
If you just
kills.
want- yeah.
It's okay to go play team deathmatch. You're going to get smoked because everybody else is trying to get kills now, and you can't rely on hovering around C but not
Yeah.
actually taking C.
So that's why it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and you'll see us next week. Peace.
Peace.